Hey everyone, this is Ole Sharanki from Laddering Your Success, and you're listening to the LYS Podcast.
Hello and good afternoon, one and all. My name is Ole, and this is another episode of EduSteps powered by Laddering Your Success. I'm honored, as always, to be joined by my good friend, Festus Amoye. Festus, how you doing today, brother?
I'm doing really well, man. Just trying to get together for the week, as always. You know, it's a wonderful week ahead. I'm looking forward to it.
Definitely agree. And as always, we're also honored to be joined by the future doctor, Jamark Crawford. How you doing today, Crawford?
Hey, I'm happy to be here with you guys. Yeah, I can hear you.
Awesome. Thanks as always for being here with us. So today, what we're going to talk about is we're going to talk about core memories from the 90s. It's so funny now because I've been hearing funny things like it's been the same amount of time from the time when that 70s show came on to the 70s to when they did the 90s show when it was released. So it's basically been about 30 years. And it's very easy for us to forget those things. And so I wanted to talk about some of those core memories we had. One of the things we like to talk about is like generations and how there are different things that are passed along and things that remember and whatnot. And so I wanted to talk about those things and how they kind of affect the way students see the world or how they take in the world these days. So the question I have for everyone is, what was your favorite memory from growing up? This could be making a fort, just being outside, a certain meal. What was your favorite memory I'm going to say your favorite memory from the 90s growing up?
It's hard to pin down just the 90s, because I think in the 90s, that was like transition from, so I was intermediate school. I was transitioned from that decade, transitioned from elementary to intermediate to middle. You know what I'm saying? And so I think one of the most interesting things to me that would just sticks out is the quality of the cartoons. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, to me, there was a difference from going like the Thundercat, what was the other one? You know, like it was to me, it was just interesting because, again, you know, technically saying cable was just coming in and becoming a thing, you know, and so now you were exposed to new cartoons, you know what I'm saying? So it was like, you know, Speed Racer, again, you know, you had Thundercat, you had, you know, G.I. Joe, you had all of these things that were all kind of coming into the mix. And it's interesting to me because as those cartoons were coming in, I mean, you had Saturday morning cartoons, so Bugs Bunny and them, you know what I'm saying? So that was always live, you know what I'm saying? The whole Looney Tunes gang. And so, like, you know, just being able to like wake up and it's like, just watch them on, you know, and, you know, our dad used to come in and laugh at Bugs Bunny, you know, all that stuff. And it's just interesting to me because, again, you know, Mickey Mouse and them was a thing in like the 60s, I think 60s, 70s. And to me, in the 90s, this stuff just became more broadly available. And it was all new to us, but at the same time, it was kind of nostalgic for our parents. And at the same time, there was some new stuff coming out, you know, X-Men. You know what I'm saying? Like to me, I just, you know, Wolverine, and I knew I was Beast, you know what I'm saying? Like, even though Wolverine was thrown and it was like, you know, for some reason, I just was like, man, I want to be Beast. You know what I'm saying? Smart guy, you know what I'm saying? Smart / strong / you know what I'm saying? Logan. You know, anyway, I'm sorry. But to me, I'm reminiscing. I mean, just thinking about that little era, it was just the cartoons and how they even taught lessons, you know what I'm saying? Conjunction, junction, what's your function? But
Hooking words, and I still remember that song, man. So real quick, I just want to give a quick shout out to the one, the only. Give a quick salute to Daniel.
What's up, my guy? What's cracking, man?
DCH to him B Zone. Thank you so much. Not much, brother. Good seeing you. So real quick, what we were just talking. I just asked for sure. I was just asking everyone, what is your favorite memory from the 90s? What was your favorite memory just growing up as a kid? And so Festus was talking a lot about a really good one, which was the quality of the cartoons. And so I just want everyone to give a quick spiel on what your favorite memory was or memories were from the 90s.
I
Yeah,
think I think that's
you
gonna
go
be
ahead.
hard for Daniel because he was already grown.
I knew it was coming. I knew it
I
was
didn't want
coming.
to say anything.
Oh,
That's why
I was waiting for it. I was like, probably gonna say.
All
I
right,
was
my
already
bad. Go
driving
ahead,
back
Daniel.
then. I was already driving back then, so I came. Hey, I was gonna say, hey, I remember I came when the three. Well, I guess 3D glass was already out, but I remember going to movies using them 3D glasses, man, and watching one Freddy movie. And what happened was that Freddy came out, whatever at you, and you in there swinging, going off. Because I don't think they even make. I remember 3D. They don't make that stuff no more. I mean, they had 3D TVs. What, a couple of years ago? But then that
yeah,
stuff just went away.
yeah.
So
Yeah,
yeah, I
we
remember like
had
going to the
4K.
movies and stuff. Or hey, what fun tunnels and all that stuff. We go to the arcade and play them games. That stuff was live back then. Now these kids don't know nothing about that.
Yeah, Jamark, you got anything?
No.
Yeah. For me, just being able to be outside at that time, just outside all day, just playing, like just being active. I remember just playing wrestling with my friends. We'll go to McDonald's just to go into the ball pen and do wrestling moves and things like that. Playing basketball, playing sports, like it don't matter what it was, we playing, whether it's riding bikes. I don't even know how to skateboard, but trying to skateboard, trying to play just something, like even if it's a sport that's not even my preference. We playing it. Like I remember we'll be outside and the kids in the neighborhood be playing soccer. All right, well, ain't nobody hooping. Let's play soccer. Let's play volleyball. Like we're playing whatever it is that's going on just to play and be active. And if nobody was playing anything, like shoot, like I said, we riding bikes, walking around, like just being outside, exploring, and just getting active, having fun, like just little kids that explore. So yeah.
Definitely. This may sound like a weird question, but one of the things I was thinking about as I was hanging out with my friends is I was talking with some of their kids and I was telling them how much I about the breakfasts that I used to have growing up. And so,
school
you
breakfast or
know,
like breakfast at home?
sorry, school breakfast.
Oh,
So or either or, because I was telling them about it was very simple, but it was like the cinnamon toast, the cinnamon sugar toast. You guys remember that with like the butter?
yeah, you butter,
Butter.
you put a little bit of, you mix well, if you do, it depends on your recipe, mix the butter with the sugar, let it toast a little bit, pull it out, you know what I'm saying? Add your cinnamon, put it back
See,
in, you know what I'm saying?
just some of those things.
Hey, LYS fam. It's Ole once again. These days, many families are busy but want personalized attention. We at Laddering Your Success understand this dilemma and have created a unique approach to help guide you and your child with personal development tools to build a life of purpose. This intimate approach is helpful for those parents that feel the need to have a focused heart to heart conversation deciding on the next steps after high school. We provide individual post secondary planning, virtual customized college and career counseling, and scholarship guidance and planning. Our one on one sessions are tailored to each individual student to maximize their potential in the post secondary realm. With our guidance, your child will be able to make their dreams a reality. Don't wait. Simply go to lys.com/parents to get your copy today. Now let's get back to business on this podcast.
Did you guys have anything that you remember as a kid that you really, that like, you know how it is when you think about a certain smell or a certain food, it just takes you back to a certain time? Do you guys have anything like that?
Hey, bro. I remember them pizzas back in, was it high school or middle school? Them square or the rectangle ones, bro. Man, those were life changing, bro. Everybody pay that extra 50 cents to get that extra.
Yes, sir. Them lunch ladies just seemed a lot happier back then. Go ahead. Yeah.
That's because the food was good back then.
Man,
For me, whenever I thought I was tired from being outside and I come in and I smell chitlins, oh, let me go right back outside because it smells so bad. I come back in, I'm like, oh, I ain't tired. Let me go right back outside.
oh my goodness. I mean, to me, just those outside times were just super fun. You remember, like, again, where's everybody at? I don't know where people are at. You going door to door back then, knocking, and then you got to go find where the bikes are piled up I mean, we didn't have, some people had skateboards. Most people, it was either bikes or what else? Usually it was bikes just piled up outside, you know what I'm saying? And he said, okay, they had such and such house because all the bikes is in the front. or their in their apartment or whatever. So to me, those was just happy times, and we're playing hide and go seek all through the apartment complex. So it's like, like there was like serious hide and go seek. You know what I'm saying? Like you get like 10 kids hide and go seek, and it's like you go through the whole complex. And it's sad nowadays, you just don't really have that.
Yeah, it's crazy because man, you can't pay kids to stay outside now.
I think it's, and this is just me speaking from the kids my age. This is so tough. It's so tough because like, and then me and my wife were kind of talking through this. Is like, okay, I learned maturity from being able to go out to a certain degree, being able to go outside. Like it was just like, go, come back when the street lights come on. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, okay, an apartment complex, we drinking from where the water hose, you just, I want to go home for water. So you just like, get it with your hands and all that other stuff. And so, you just do that, or you go to somebody else's house and, get some water from there. And it was like, well, everybody was kind of, again, out there to have fun. Every once in a while you run into, a troublemaker kid, but wasn't that big of a deal. You know what I'm saying? And you went back in at the end of the day. And I think now it's like, well, there's so many other things that are possibly susceptible to. And then on top of that, I think that kids' imaginations are thrown off because of the TV and all the games. And so when you can, you think about, and sometimes I'll do this because, I was talking about cartoons earlier. I kind of like to watch these older cartoons. I kind of wish they had to wait week to week like we did, for the new episode. But it's like, and you waited 7 days.
They learn patience, right? They learn patience, right?
Exactly. So it taught us patience. You waited 7 days for a whole new episode. Well, these kids now, it's all there. But then I look at the graphics, and I look at the level of graphic difference in the cartoons, and the stuff that it was like, kind of like what Daniel was talking about, where it's like 3D IMAX, you know what I'm saying? That was like, oh man, now that stuff is on your regular television to a certain degree. And so to me, that's the thing that's really hard, because it's like, if that's what you watch and then somebody says, go outside, and then it's like, what am I doing out here? What's going on out here? And so, I try a little bit, but I probably need to get better. I mean, sports are still really, really good, but I think at the same time, it's like, well, what about just understanding nature and, what's happening there and stuff like that. So I think it's tough, man. I think
in my opinion, that's where the adults like set those structures for the kids to explore. I do understand what you're saying. Like the times are completely different from back in the day with us. So I definitely agree with you 100%. But I think because taking the information that you're giving the people and the listeners, it's like taking the information with knowing this and becoming aware of this. What can I do to encourage that exploration within my children? That means I might have to get out there with my kids outside and explore with them. That means I might need to go to the park with them and play with them. I probably can't just sit in the house and say, go outside. Because like you said, they're not going to know what to do, right? So that's where we got to just get in the dirt with them, go outside. Like back when I was in the public school, I take the kids outside for wellness. They sitting around. But as soon as I got out there and started playing with them, they all playing. Girls included. The girls don't have no interest in football, right? But they just want to come out there and play. So now we playing tag. Now we running. Now we going. I do something silly. I'll be like there. Oh, they got the cooties. Now everybody take off, scatter and running. Without me doing that, they just sit there and walk around, man, when we going in? When we going in? But see, I would have to get uncomfortable, get out there and get sweaty. Then all of a sudden, everybody's engaged. Just because I do something silly, I turn into a kid. Oh, he got the cooties. Take off. Now everybody running. Everybody he trying to tag somebody or she trying to tag somebody. Like little childish things like that can definitely get the kids like involved. And then they take it to a whole nother level and they start wrestling and stuff like that. I'm like, all right, cool. We got to be a little safe. We on school property now. If we weren't at school, I'm like, all right, cool. Go ahead. Oh yeah. DD Tim. But I'm responsible, so I can't do that on school premises.
This is where I'm gonna play parents advocate, bro. Like, bro, my kids are 5 and 6. they have about 3 hours of homework worth of homework to be. So when you add it up, it comes to almost 2 to 3 hours of homework a night, and then I gotta go to jungle gym after I done came from a hard day's work, and so I don't disagree with you. I'll be out there playing too, but it's just that it's a level of consistency with that and sustainability that becomes super difficult for parents. You know what I mean? Because it's like, again, and to me, I think this is, something that parents should consider and should do, because like it helps to keep you young. You know what I'm saying? It helps to keep your mind young and vibrant. But at the same time, it is tiring. And I could only imagine what single parents are going through. Because it's like, to me, I could not do I couldn't do an ounce of the things that I'm able to do if I didn't have such a supportive spouse. You know what I'm saying? And so I think that's really important. You know what I mean? But at the same time, yeah, I do agree. Hey, it's just a health benefit in getting out there and using your imagination. It really is, when you really sit down and think about it. And sometimes you go and you feel so free afterwards. And to me, the hard part is like you got to switch it back on and get back to responsibilities, because somebody got to make dinner, somebody got to do this, somebody got to, you know what I'm saying? And so to me, that's the thing I think is just difficult about these times. And it's like, well, what are you gonna do? I talk to my kids. I'm like, look, y'all got to compete. It's like a 5-6-year-old conversation. It's like, look, y'all are competing on a global scale now, so you got to do this homework. You know what I'm saying? That's I'm gonna be 100% honest. It might not be 3 hours, but it'll definitely be almost 2 hours of homework by the time you end up doing each of the things. So you got reading, that's about 30 minutes. You got math, that's about 30 minutes. Usually they don't put too much science and stuff in there. But then if you go through each of the assignments and you're really trying to shoot for foundational skills, you know what I mean? Like, okay, no, you missed that. You got to do it over again. No, you missed that. And even to me, prep work, you know what I'm saying? I'm and I hope I don't sound like I'm complaining. I'm just, the reality, you know what I'm saying, is like, the teachers, oh, your kid's handwriting's off. Okay, that means they need to work on their grip strength. Okay, so before we even start homework, we're doing grip strength work. It's like,
why are we doing that, Papa? Well, because if you don't know how to write,
and then it's just, yeah, so it's just another thing, and it's another thing, and it's another thing. And so sometimes, to me, this is where again, I'm able to kind of structure play, like, okay, go do the monkey bars or something where you're able to work on grip as you're climbing and as you're doing this. You know what I'm saying? But then again, even that whole imaginative aspect goes out the window, because it's like you got to do all this extra stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, LYS fam. It's Ole. Thanks so much for listening to LYS. I just wanted to take a quick moment to talk to the parents. That's right, mom and dad. Parents, prepare your child for their best educational fit after high school with our comprehensive LYS Parents Guidebook. Our helpful guide includes a range of activities designed to help you better understand your child's unique gifts and abilities. Additionally, we provide valuable insights into the student loan debt crisis and offer practical tips on how to avoid accumulating large amounts of debt. Our ebook also includes a wealth of information on scholarships, grants, and payment exemptions that can help guide your child towards a bright and successful future. With our expert guidance, you can rest assured that your child is well prepared to make informed decisions about their education and career path. Don't let your child's future be in jeopardy. Invest in their future today by downloading the LYS Parents Guidebook. Simply go to lys.com/parents to get your copy today. Now let's get back to the show, because it's some good topics.
So it's just, I don't know, bro. I don't know. It
I
is what it
think
is.
everything you're saying makes sense. I just feel like one of the key differences that you briefly mentioned, and dealing with the difficulties that you're talking about with making a time to get active with the kids and do homework and things of that nature. If I be honest, another thing is the exposure to screen time at such early ages. Back in the day when we were growing up, the only screen that we was exposed to was just watching TV, as you briefly mentioned, watching cartoons or whatever. And that wasn't an all day marathon event. It would be okay in the morning before school, or in the morning on certain days you have time to watch this one cartoon, then you go to school. And then if you get up early enough, on depending on what network you watch, you'll watch those cartoons. They'll probably last like an hour, hour and a half across different cartoons that you choose to watch. Other than that, you are coming up with your own activities to enjoy yourself outside of doing homework. But when we look at now, kids are coming out the womb given screen time through tablets or phones or whatever. And this is where I'm going to stress just being honest, because I see the effects on the students that it have. When you have a child that's young and crying, and because it's like, oh, okay, to make them be quiet, let me give them my phone. Yes, that's easy for you as a parent, but that have which is why kids don't want to go outside and play, which is why when it comes to them being in school, their attention span isn't there. It's like, okay, every kid got ADD now, not because it's something wrong with them. Let's not talk about the dietary needs and the sugar intake, forget that. But they have ADD because they're used to being entertained by screen, whether it's playing games on the phone or a tablet or whatever. They're having access to this at such young ages to where they skip the part of going out and exploring, which is a key fundamental part of child development. Let me roam around and explore. But if I'm a newborn child and you give me something that's shiny and making noise, I'm going to sit there and be quiet. Now, when I have to go sit in the classroom and listen to somebody talk, it's a little bit kind of difficult to do so. So I feel like, yes, you do have those challenges, but at the same time, we're exposing these children before their brains are fundamentally developed to have screen time. And that's what's keeping them calm. And so when they're in situations when they don't have that screen time, why am I gonna go outside and play? What they doing that for? It's
A,
hot
a,
outside.
a
I'm used to sitting
thousand percent
in here
big
in the
facts.
AC.
Yeah, 1,000% big facts. You are so on point. You're so on point. 1,000% big facts.
So I remember growing up, we were pretty much a pretty decent sized Nigerian community. And in Yoruba culture, whenever you have a baby, whenever a new baby is born, they do something called a naming ceremony. And so it's where you officially get your name. And the pastor would always talk about how babies saw the world, or how, toddlers and kids, how they saw the world. They were like huge tape recorders, right? They mimic everything that they see people around them doing. And so I think about to where, when we were growing up, what we probably saw our parents doing. We saw our parents talking on the phone. That's why you see a lot of pictures of babies, and what are they doing? They're talking on the old school. Like, there's a picture of me with like the old school, not the one that you punch, the one that you have to turn, one of them phones. I'm sitting there on a phone as a kid. That's where we learn to pick up a lot of our language, a lot of our inflection, right? If a kid's sarcastic, or they have this, a different type of way of talking, they're usually picking it up from someone around them. And to your point, Crawford, I thought about that. If what kids these days are being exposed to, they're probably being exposed to watching the adults around them on their phone. That's not even before they get a device put in front of them. They're seeing them on their phone. So just imagine you growing up in the 90s and you see someone on this magical device with a screen, right? Outside of like someone who had like a desktop computer, and now they're putting it in front of you. They're already being told like, this is the thing that I need to get done, right? I think when we were growing up, things like that were seen as a secondary source of help. Well, we as adults know that that's probably our primary source. So it's a shift. And I think there's a certain level of responsibility, to Festus' point, of having to balance and make sure like you talk to the kids and you communicate certain things to young kids. But the reason why I asked those questions initially when we opened up was, I think overall, no matter your background, there was a certain feeling that we have when we look back. We say, oh man, the good old days, or we say, man, it was just such a good time back then. And I think about today, and I think every parent wants that to some extent for the kids. They want their kids to have those moments where they can look back and say, remember that time we rode on a tricycle, or dad used to take us here, or mom used to do this with us. You want to create those memories for young people. I know for me, one of the things I remember my dad saying regularly is, I better not catch you watching Married with Children, or I better not catch you watching The Simpsons. He was just really big on that. I don't want you watching those things, right? And I remember, Mondays I kind of sneak in a little bit, watch a little bit of that Fox. Thursdays I get in and watch a little bit of that, but different story for a different time. So I want to take, whatever time we have left to kind of talk about some of those things. We started to see some of the impact of some of those things, right? Around the time we were getting into high school, they would talk about not screen time, but television time. I remember vividly hearing about how a lot of kids were spending a lot of time watching TV, and how a lot of kids were getting a bit more obese, right? Obesity was an issue, but it wasn't as big of an issue as it is right now. And how those things how they've grown, right? Because they say, a lot of kids from age 8 to 18 spend 7.5 hours a day on entertainment media. So it's no longer TV. It could be a plethora of things, right? And so we know about some of the impacts that these things have. Crawford mentioned, a lot of kids having issues with being able to focus, cognitive development issues with health, being able to, to have emotional regulation, their ability to be able to express themselves and things like that. And so I guess my question, and we can end it on this question, is what are some of the things that we can do to ensure that kids are able to have those good memories, those good moments when they look back? Because here's the funny thing. I'm pretty sure that there were a group of folks quite like us who were sitting around in 1993 saying, man, these TVs are getting crazy. They got cell phones now. There were flip phones, or those big brick phones. They were saying, I've been hearing about this thing called the World Wide Web. I think that's going to be pretty big in the next couple of years. And I'm pretty sure they were saying, man, how do you think it's going to be 30 years from now? Well, let me ask that question to us right now. How are things going to be in 2054? What do you think that technology is going to be like? I think our parents, those parents are still going to want those same things for their kids. So thinking with that in mind, right, what are some of the things that we can do? Because I've seen it done. I've been really fortunate. A lot of my friends that have kids, they do amazing things with their kids to ensure that they're able to have that balance. So as these things happen, what are some of the things we can do? Festus, I'll start with you because you have the most practical use of these things.
Well, you said 2054. I said, here goes Elon with iRobot. It's about to be Terminator 3 Judgment Day, Sarah Connor. I don't see us making it that far, to be honest with you. As a society, the robots are going to be like, look, man, these guys screwed up again, and let's just go ahead and cut them in half, just be some I Am Legend in this camp. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, with how bad things are getting from the technology, I mean, and I see different movements happening. I see homeschool movement getting bigger. I see the kind of rural homestead living getting bigger. I see, and it's also a very interesting time. I just had this conversation with someone on Friday, how now, in terms of how things are improving, they're improving so rapidly, and tools are available for people to, make a lot of decisions that you just couldn't do before. So let's say you're a parent and you're struggling, like, what should I do with my kid? You could go on ChatGPT and say, hey, give me 3 things to do this Saturday with my child that can help develop blank, 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 or can do blank, blank, blank. Boom, you got ideas. So you don't even have to really just, go do a bunch of research now. Now it's at your fingertips. So I think the future looks bright in that perspective of man, pretty soon the cost of traveling is going to start dropping tremendously. I don't think people really even things that were luxuries, like you said, in the 90s are commonplace to people in poverty today. You know what I'm saying? Like cable coming out in the 90s or becoming more prominent in the 90s is replaced by streaming, which even if you don't have any money, just from Tubi, what is it, a free account? I think they still do free accounts on not Netflix. What's the
I think
other
it's
one?
like Freebies, one of them too.
Hulu. Just from these free accounts, you have more access to, television and all those things. And then again, don't get me wrong. We're in a very tight economic time right now, but it's like even, the fact that we're in Texas, so I could talk more about Texas than other places. The fact that they're improving roads, you know what I'm saying? And, now you could, for the price of gas, a full tank of gas, I could drive to Austin and go into the hill country or, the San Antonio and hike and then come back to Houston, within the same day or weekend. So there's going to be a lot of opportunities, I think, like that. And as time progresses, you got people who are doing the Airbnbs. And like I said, I could see where, and as a matter of fact, that's going on in Houston. There's a place that they do like almost like a petting zoo / come homestead for a weekend type thing. Like you could go out there, you could get your chicken, kill the chicken, prep the chicken, and then bring it back home. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So these are going to be like really interesting things to be able to teach kids skill sets and develop kids and say, hey, this is our plan for the weekend. And so it's going to be really, really interesting. I just could say that it's going to be interesting. Either robots are going to take over and kill us all, or it's going to be like, hey, we're going to have a blast. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the way it looks.
I love it. I love it.
Hey, LYS fam, it's Ole. If there's one thing I love, it's something free. I'm talking free 99, un gratis. No shipping or handling fees, no gotcha fees, nothing like that. With that being said, if you're graduating soon or thinking about college or need a nudge or help to decide, then our free ebook, 10 Things to Think About Before Going to College, has a very balanced and open-minded way of presenting your next steps. It captures broad topics in a personal way by giving students an insightful, interactive, and reflective source of inspiration. It is very beneficial to be able to visualize some of the concepts after high school and apply them directly to you. We all know life, college, and career planning decision-making choices for students can be challenging, especially as they near the completion of high school. This book will provide you with a self-paced guide to your success beyond academics and into real life. Not only is it free, you can complete this book within a week. This will definitely prepare you for long-term success. To get your free copy, simply go to lys.com/students. I mentioned it was free, right? Well, if I didn't, it's free. Like, for real, for real. Okay, back to the podcast.
Did y'all have anything I wanted to jump in? You're just talking about like, as we look into the future and as technology starts to advance even more and faster, what are some of the things that we should hold on to? What are some of the things, if you were a parent raising your kids, what were some of the things that you would do to ensure your kids have those lasting memories of a well-lived childhood, if that makes sense?
No, Leia, I didn't have to ask you to frame the question again. You just went in for it. Nah, I got you though. I think that in the future, I think that augmented reality and virtual reality become even more bigger as I see people getting into like video games where they're actually spending money on, like kids or people who are into that stuff, spending money not on real resources in the real world, but resources for whatever that's online, such as a video game, or not even just a video game, whatever I can't remember what it's called for like Facebook. I'm just saying Facebook because they're over at meta whatever, metaverse, whatever. They're spending money on things in that world. Kids as well spending money on skins, as they call it, and like spending real money to buy digital clothing for unreal characters or their avatar in that augmented reality. So I think that's going to blur the lines between reality and going out in the world and purchasing our resources. I think AI and I think that's going to improve. And AI automation, which will affect the workforce. They're already having a shift now, which is why there was a strike going on at the port. My dad works at the port. They was on strike because of the company trying to go more towards automation and things of that nature, a loss of so many jobs. And as technology improve, and these companies become aware of, hey, if I just pay to get all this technology and all this machinery to certain things, man, I don't have to pay actual people to do that. We spend a lot right now to save money. So I think that's definitely going to affect a lot of us, even the way, this is an education platform, even the way people consume education in the future. I think that's definitely going to affect us teachers, educators, because already they have platforms where you can get education through different forms and not be in person. So I believe that, just like when he was saying by Elon Musk, Festus was talking about Elon Musk, I think transportation, we'll see innovation in that. We already saw a little preview of how that would be, but I think that it'd be real interesting to see how us as humans, how we would try to figure out different ways to adapt and still thrive. I feel like many of us are threatened by the innovation of technology, even though its essential purpose is to make things easier, but it is a cost for that. Like if we implement this, that means someone doesn't have to do whatever that task was, and it's just going to be real interesting to see how we try to adapt to just kind of make up for income and things of that nature. So
absolutely, man. The balance, I think the balance is what that's awesome. That's awesome. To close it off, Hill, DCH, did you have anything you wanted to drop in about the future of technology and how it applies to families and children and just childhood and how they're being reared and raised?
No problem. We're done.
Okay.
It's OB. We're done. Bro, hey, think about it. We even talked about this years ago with like everybody thought we was lying when we was talking about cryptos and metaverse and all that stuff. You ain't really gonna do it. That's what, like 5 years ago, bro? 5 years ago, something like that when I first, and then it was like, bro, but like even when like Crawford said, people use technology, like in school they use it. But some of the kids usually get smarter. Some of the kids use the cheat. So we had one kid, I be telling people, I was like, man, ChatGPT, y'all be thinking it's perfect, but it gets everything from everywhere across the internet. So if I would tell people to get something, I say, man, get a real book, bro. Get a real book, because they will change up this information. Like, I mean, at one point somebody was saying everybody needs to have a real Bible, because they will change it. Because if AI takes over, it can change up an app, bro. It can change up the history, and your kids ain't gonna know any better. We ain't gonna know better. Like he said, AI is growing so fast, man. Here's his thing. We thought AI was gonna take 10 years to do the stuff it did. It took like 2 years, bro. Like the stuff AI is doing, like, have y'all seen the new thing? Was AI podcast? Have y'all seen that? Well, it's
Not yet.
You ain't seen it, bro. They have real life voice. And it's like a woman and a dude talking, and they're grabbing. So if something pops up across the internet, they take it and talk about it. So it's like, instead of you listening to like waiting for somebody to figure out and break it down, the AI takes it and teaches you about what's going on today. Like, say, like, oh yeah, they actually came out with a new thing, and it sounds like me and you talking, bro. And they was tripping because even the newscasters was like, bro, this is like scary, because it's gonna take jobs. Because think about it, if I could sit there and instead of waiting till tomorrow to find out what happens, it found out something happened, it put it together, and they talking back and forth, talking about the situation, bro. So it's either gonna help us majorly, it's gonna help some people majorly, but some people, they gonna use it the wrong way, and it's gonna destroy their life, bro. So I tell parents, man, to make sure your kid is running true information, because AI it's good and it's bad, bro.
I think that's go ahead, Festus. Sorry.
I think
Go ahead, Crawford. Go ahead.
I think it was a delay. My bad, y'all.
Wait, somebody talking now? Be quiet.
No, Crawford. Go ahead.
Like a pastor now. Ah.
Yeah, no, I think his internet is messed up. I think it's messed up.
It's the AI, man.
Yeah,
Metaverse man. Metaverse mad at him for talking about it wasn't him, it was Festus.
no, that's you, bro. don't get me in trouble with the metaverse, bro. See, that's the thing I think is really scary is that in order to get people to use these things, there's a lot of manipulation being done. Because I think what's happening, and I think this was the kind of Crawford's point about even changes in education. You know, initially when our kids were younger, we're just big on education, so we've always had like them doing some kind of tutoring, and then we went to virtual through digital product Class Dojo, so yeah, virtual tutoring, and so we did that for almost a year, I think, and son's just still not where he needs to be. So eventually we had to go back to in person, and in that in person, his learning almost I'm gonna say almost doubled. Like all the issues that was happening, they got corrected super quick. And so what I see is that the value of in-person interaction is going to be higher in terms of it's going to be more valued. It's going to be probably even more expensive. I think that's going to end up being the case. I think when you talk about tutoring and all that stuff and all the online stuff, I think that stuff is going to get really cheap because it's virtual tutoring. So why has it got to be $30-$40? When you could get AI to tell you the problem. Khan Academy, from my understanding, is using AI tutoring and stuff, and they got a grant for it and all this other stuff. So I think the thing is the dynamic there is people are going to get more access, and this is why I just think who you spend your time with that's really going to dictate the future. You know what I mean? If you spend time with people who are out there being creative, being dynamic, kind of living their best life, so to speak, I think that is going to then help you to like live your life better. You know what I mean? But if you got people where everything is online, I think they're going to be very, 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 very miserable.
Ain't that like what's happening in like Japan? Is that in Japan where they have something about like depression, like 30% or 35% don't interact with anybody. And that's the area where they even like some people are like paying to have a person who comes and just, I think it's called Big Sister, something to come and check on because they've been online so long, there's no interacting with each other. And like, I was at Japan, 35% or something like that. Or they so working so hard, so busy, like everything is like online and busy. I can't remember where it is.
Yeah, that part I don't know about, but I do know that they are, because of the lack of interaction in some major cities, there are professional cuddlers now.
Yeah.
You could hire a person to come cuddle with you for like $80 an hour or something crazy like that.
I remember there's one dude who was getting paid. And there's a story. It was like dude said, his boss said, man, you literally do nothing. I literally pay you to do nothing. And dude was like, can I get paid for doing nothing? And he literally gets paid now because people want interaction, not even talking. So he makes, I think, said $80,000 a year. And this is what he do. When you need somebody just to go with you to the store, he might give you simple answers like, yeah, cool, whatever. He will ride to you at the store. He'll sit down and eat with you, and he does nothing, but he makes 80 grand. So just because he know how to do that, that's what I'm saying. So that in person, like you said, is gonna be a big deal because that's how even now, sometimes older generation get hired over the young generation because they know how to interact. Just because you get online, like my mom and them was able to go back to the base and work because they know how to talk to people, bro. Like, why you coming back? And also they had security clearances, but these people they knew how to work and interact. So it's gonna be, like you said, it's gonna be who can actually interact more in person. That's the one who's gonna get everything.
Yeah, so I think the key thing here is as we move on, we're going to start to realize that there are certain skills and personality traits that we all need to be able to move as a society. I know, Festus, you mentioned it. I think we all mentioned it, actually. There are benefits to a lot of these things, but knowing how to use them for what they are without losing too much of who we are as humans is going to be the key. So I love it. I love it. Thank you. So real quick, I just want to say thank you so much to everyone who has been following, supporting, commenting, liking, sharing our content our videos, our work. If you have been to any of our events or seen anything that we've done, thank you so much for your constant support. We really appreciate it. Can't wait to see the growth and expansion that we do in 2025. Please be sure, wherever you're watching this or listening to this, please be sure to like and share and put a comment. If it's a good comment, put it on. If it's a bad comment, put it on. We're always looking for ways to make this better, more interactive, and to reach more people so we can help more people. So if there's something that you want to see, please don't be afraid to get in contact with us. Be sure to follow and like us. We are on YouTube. Type in Ladder Your Success. TikTok, Instagram, just type in Ladder Your Success. We should come up. All right. So for the future Dr. Jamar Crawford, for Daniel Hill, I'm Ole Sharanki. Festus, go ahead and give him the phrase that pays, my good man.
Bro, we are living in some wild times. Listen, there are legitimate excuses for not going to college. There's no legitimate excuse for not getting an education. Listen, if you like this, go ahead and hit the like button. We probably need to do a part 2 of this because things are just crazy now. But anyway, go ahead and hit the share button with somebody who needs to hear this, and we will see you on the next episode. All right, we'll catch you later. All right, y'all be blessed.
Oh, you're still there? Well, thank you so much for listening to the LYS Podcast.